I think about Gloomhaven too, because Gloomhaven, I have not seen inside any of the box. We did once, but I've forgotten what it is. But that's where there's legacy elements. There's a small thing, and so forth. The app is cool because it shows you the scenario, but blocks certain areas out, so you don't know what's coming compared to the scenario book where you do see the whole map. So.
The app touching upon that, the app integration in Mansion of Madness was pretty good.
Yeah,
I really like that.
If we're talking about app integration, it was interesting. When we first saw app integration, my immediate thought is, I want to play a video game, I'll play a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my opinion on, if you ever get talking about game mechanics I love and game mechanics I hate, the one I hate the most is reflex-based. If I want to play a reflex game, I'll play a PC game, and I have tons of those.
Yeah.
I have no interest in playing. I don't care how good it is. I don't care how it's involved. I do not want a game where I do this. No interest.
Yeah.
Or do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're literally...
Or how fast can you do this? Or whatever.
It hit its pinnacle with beer pong. And that's it. It's like, oh my god, it's flip ships. No, it's beer pong.
Yeah.
Get me drunk, and I will love this game, I'm sure.
And that's what it's marketed for.
It's not. It's not. It's a serious cooperative game that combines beer pong with Space Invaders. And somebody said that and said, that's awesome. They made a drinking game, they got drunk and said, we can make money off of this. And they do. There's a whole franchise of these.
Yeah.
There's a flip game for Walking Dead.
Yeah.
There's one where there's terrain, you build towns and you flip stuff everywhere. I'm sure it's fantastic. I have zero interest in those.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I have zero interest with things hitting me in the face.
Yeah.
Or appliances I have to put on my face. Or things I have to put in my mouth.
But that's also... that
Swingers, the board game. Now here comes the ultimate game, folks.
There's the new game.
Here's a new game. Roll your dice, throw your keys in.
Bet you it's already out there.
No, I'm guaranteeing. remember, the first game based around wine was a Winopoly, where you just drank wine and played Monopoly. And now we have viticulture and Vinhouse and a whole bunch of others. Like, oh my god, you think a year ago we were making fun of this, and now viticulture is in the top 5 of all time now.
It's a great game because it's way more than just drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your party games, and that's what those games are. They're party games. They're fun games, not unlike Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity is part of that.
Well, it's not a reflex game.
Yeah, it's a judge mechanic game, but it's fun. It's decent. It gets the job done. Like I said, that's why I'm interested in going into Codenames, because Codenames at least plays with that party mechanic, that large group size, and then boils it down to be a different mechanic than just, oh yeah, that was funny.
Next.
Yeah. Well, Gloomhaven. Do you know how many scenarios are in Gloomhaven?
Well, no.
Because there's an app which tells you. So, because the apps don't really spoil things. If you go into the app, and if you go into the app, you can see all the scenarios that are in the game. Mm-hmm. How many scenarios you think are in the game? Now, considering the fact that Pandemic Legacy is like 12, 13 games. Legends of Andor is 6 games. Okay? And that's kind of normal. I can't remember which game we had that was like 8 or 9, but even I think it's like 12. There's 2 campaigns of 6 games each, I think, in Mission Red Planet. No, sorry, First Martians. So how many do you think are in Gloomhaven?
I'm just throwing in maybe 16.
95.
Holy crap!
There are 95 scenarios in the Gloomhaven scenario viewer.
Well, so that's not
There's
bad.
95. Now you imagine those are 95 games that are like 45 to 2 hours.
Yeah. That's a lot of time.
When someone said there's 120 hours of gameplay in Gloomhaven, I believe it. Mm-hmm. My issue is, what's the game? Now that's a point that I've been bringing up about Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Is that I have not played it. I have seen playthroughs. I've read the book. We're prepping ourselves for it, and it seems to be, in some circles, it's a fantasy dungeon delve with legacy elements.
Yeah.
And I have never bought any of those. I have never purchased any of those. I mean, have you played a lot of those?
No, I mean...
Mansion of Madness is almost like that.
It is. I mean, that was the first game. What I liked about that game is that the app randomized the game, so every scenario you get has some elements of randomness.
Yeah, you don't know what to expect.
Exactly. But, I mean, you and I have only played the one scenario.
Yeah. Had hell of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a hoot. We didn't know the rules very well, but whatever. right? But
we didn't know what we were doing. We
still won.
Screwed up the rules.
That counts as a win. We won.
Yeah. We won. We screwed up one part of the rules in our favor, screwed up 3 rules that worked against us, so we won. We called it a win.
I like the game. It's a lot of fun, and I like the randomness of it, so it keeps me coming back. With Gloomhaven having 95 scenarios, that's a big plus for me.
Yeah.
That's a big plus because it's not a one-shot and done.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the legacy games for that reason.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're...
Luckily, we bought the removable sticker DLC.
So you can...
Because why not spend more money on a game you've already spent $140 on?
How much was that at?
I'll say $20.
Oh, see, that's not bad, though. I mean, that makes you suddenly have...
the option to replay a game that already has 95 scenarios.
Exactly. Now, are the scenarios, do they change or are they set? Do you know? They don't randomize.
No, there are some randomized elements within the game because you can change the level of the monsters. You can alter certain things based on it. Plus, because the Gloomhaven map changes, that's the legacy thing. Is the Gloomhaven town and the map of Gloomhaven that expands as you reach out.
Okay.
So when you go, if you need to go back and do another mission, you can be up higher level. You can have more stuff to your disposal because. But the thing is, Legacy looks like, it's a game where you're in this town, you're playing characters. Some characters die, some characters live. And in the end of the day, the town gets bigger and bigger and so forth, and gets changed and altered, and the terrain landscape changes. And I go, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So it runs kind of like a D&D campaign without a GM.
And we were talking about that.
That it's a huge selling point for people to go, oh, great, they've made a GM-less board D&D games.
Yeah.
Right? So you can have your tabletop, but there's no one who has to suffer the burden of having to be a dungeon master / games master. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, I have friends who run game groups where they say, oh, thank God, we don't have to have someone who has to be a DM. Who's going to be the DM? Okay, here are
begrudgingly, I'll put up my hand.
Yeah, I'll be the DM today. Here, wear the chains of shame.
Yeah.
You get naked, they flog you. Shame.
Shame.
For being the GM. And you sit there and you open the book and you have to read the book and like,
you can't do that. Yeah.
This is so tedious. Who wants to kill the monster? I am the GM. I can't play. I take no joy in this experience because I am not playing a character and leveling up.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem being a GM. I'm a weirdo.
Well, maybe, but I mean, like you were saying earlier, having a GM involved in the game makes the GM have fun.
Yeah, and that's my advice to anybody that has a game group where no one wants to be a GM, find one.
Yeah, find somebody who wants to be
because
that.
Nothing is more miserable than having a group where nobody wants to run a game. I have been a GM / DM for 30 years, almost uninterrupted. Mm-hmm. I'm not a very good player. I don't care about... I mean, I care about characters, but I don't feel overt loyalty to my own character. And in the end, I'm about trying to tell a story. And if anybody tries to tell me that a tabletop legacy game, not necessarily Gloomhaven, but a tabletop legacy dungeon game can replicate a good dungeon romp with a skilled DM, you have never run a Dungeons & Dragons or a fantasy role-playing pen and paper game with a skilled GM. I'm not saying I'm one of those people, but I'm saying
you haven't experienced that.
Because a role-playing game, a true role-playing game, regardless of the rule system you're using, is by its very essence a legacy game.
Yeah.
It is by its very essence a role-playing
it's a story-driven
game.
Yeah.
It is a tabletop. So when someone tells me, "Oh, we get story narratives through playing World of Warcraft," I'm like, "No, you don't. Not like when you're playing a role-playing game.
It's nowhere near as organic.
It's nowhere near as organic. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who haven't had that. Who haven't had the fact that I've run 3 games in Amethyst 4 games in Amethyst, 2 to 3 years each, 4 seasons. I've run it 4 times. The last one folded. But they have beginning, middles, and end, and we create new characters for each one. And sometimes the players change in and out or what have you. And there's a lot of people that says, like, I just want a dungeon romp. I just want to move characters, roll dice, and do things. I go, true, but having a DM that wants to be a DM that's good at what they do, that can anticipate, that will beat any stack of cards that you will ever see. that'll beat any AI in a computer you'll ever see. A role-playing, pen and paper role-playing game will trump any computer game you will ever play.
Yeah.
If anyone says Neverwinter is better than a D&D campaign, you have a really bad GM.
Yeah. The fact that you can change how your character behaves, the fact that your character is in essence a living, breathing element in this game.
Yeah.
That holds so much more weight than games that are predestined or predetermined.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even talking about the 3 endings of Mass Effect 3 or the fact that your decisions matter. I go oh yeah, Skyrim is just like playing D&D. It's like, no, it's not. You have no idea. Skyrim's a shallow ocean. A good GM can make it as deep as he wants it. You guys can go into a town, and Skyrim was like, it's not. It's just a regular town. There's nothing you can do to add depth. A GM, a good dungeon master,
you can make side quests in any place.
Can create depth where there is no depth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? There is no tabletop board game that will ever do that. That's why Mansions of Madness played with the app, where when they went from first to second edition, they dropped that DM because it was so much better to have it all skilled and constructed into that format. Yeah. But even then, that doesn't hold a stick. There's someone who's creating an entire game from the ground up. And that's my worry. My worry going into Gloomhaven is it trying to be a truly unique board game, or is it trying to replicate a tabletop dungeon delve without the burden of having a games master? And I'm like, if that's the problem, that's not an issue I've ever had. So I'm going into Gloomhaven, and although I'm going in with this utmost confidence, there's a piece of me, as I was reading through the rules and reading through the system, I'm like, this feels like I'm starting to get a chip on my shoulder regarding this game. So I'm starting to look at it and go, okay, is there a point where this game, you get a character sheet, you get a miniature, there are monsters, and you use cards to determine what they're doing. Okay, and then there's the map where the town becomes perpetual and improves. Okay, and then what? And I know it's weird to say that. He's like, isn't that enough? I go, for $140 for the number one game on better than any other game that's ever been released in history. No, that is not enough for me. I expect something more. I expect when people talk about the narrative elements of Near and Far, when Near and Far has this huge map of books and this other book of scripts and all this stuff. And you have this great story. I go, great, that cost me $50, and it's a well-known game. It's not number one in Board Game Geek and costs $140 before you get inserts and expansions and removable stickers, which will increase the price to $200 and some. Yeah. If I'm going to spend $240 on a game like that, I want
all of that experience.
And that's the thing, and that's where my issue is about Gloomhaven, is that going into Gloomhaven, I bought it expecting transcendence. I was expecting this epiphany, and the fact that it's merely fantastic or disappointingly amazing is a strange thing. We're saying I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, but the fact that it's not 10 out of 10 tells you that this is not the best game, which means that it's taking that mantle and it's unearned. It has not been out long enough. It's like when a new movie comes out, gets 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, gets the top 10 on IMDb,
and it's been over 2 hours,
and it's been out for a week. And the problem is that the moment the first critic speaks in contention to it,
he's vilified.
And that's been happening with Kickstarter games. A Kickstarter game comes out, if you speak ill will of that game, they throw you into a fire. We've seen a similar thing happen with Tom Vassell when he's reviewing certain games. And he'll go out and he'll negatively review a game that's popular, a Kickstarter game, and boy, do they not hold back.
No.
I fear for a person that says, Gloomhaven, it's okay, it's not bad.
That person is going to get lynched.
Exactly. And I have this funny feeling going into it, and people say, you have a chip on your shoulder, you haven't played the game. I go, yeah, but I'm reading the rules and playing it. And my answer to that fact is, knowing how thick that book is of scenarios, how these small little envelopes, the town of scripts and so forth, I'm looking at this going, my rule book of Amethyst Quintessence is 500 pages.
Yep.
There is not 500 pages of text in these books. So tell me how this
I can,
and that's not even telling you the story. That's just telling you the setting. That's the rules and the setting and one little module to get you going.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, how does this game... I'm not saying my game's better. I'm saying how does this game beat a DMG, a player's handbook, one module, and a really good GM?
Yeah.
Right? It was 190 hours. I was able to run a 12-year game with 3 rule books.
Now, that being said, to counter that, D&D and role-playing games like in that vein are still a much bigger time commitment overall. I mean, I'm not saying this game isn't, given the 95 scenarios,
right?
the
95 scenario. Yeah, this game is a huge...
You can play this game in, an hour, 2 hours?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You're not committed to a full-blown evening.
Yeah.
Almost every single one of my D&D and role-playing
come by at 6 o'clock. Come by at 12.
Yeah.
We'll play till 10 o'clock.
Exactly. And that's a big time commitment. And I can see
my game's always 7 to 11. My game's always 7 to 11.
Yeah, exactly. 4 hours. And that's still time, right? It's not as much, but it's still there. Whereas Gloomhaven, you can knock out a game in an hour and a half or so.
But the funny thing is that, it's great. You're in and out, low investment. I go, no, it's not a low investment. It's legacy. Which means you're still doing that same... You still have a character sheet where you're writing down stats.
And this is where... I mean, at least you have... You yourself bought that package that allows you to turn it not into a legacy game, but have to go through that.
And the best part is, I bought this, and we're talking, and we bought it because I said Nicole doesn't really like legacy games. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, is there a point at any in the future where I'm like, man, we should reset this game and start over? I'm starting to look at it like, are we ever going to reach a point where we're going to want to reset this game? I mean, Charterstone apparently has I don't know how many, 10 or 12 games.
Yeah.
And then you could flip the whole thing over and play it again.
Yeah.
And after that, you have to buy the recharge kit, which will allow you to reset it again.
Nice. Okay.
Right? But you get quite a few games out of it. But I can see that because you want to try new things. But I can't. I'm looking at Gloomhaven, looking at the number of scenarios, the number of games. There's a point where I'm like, we're not going back. We're not turning back. We're not turning back the era of time. What's wrong with you? Or we'll look at it and go, is unlocking these things in this order really going to alter and affect how we do things? And that's going to be the biggest thing. And I think when we start getting into Gloomhaven, I'm going to try to be unbiased and say, okay, I'm going to ignore that hype. But I'm going to be acknowledging the fact that everyone says this is the greatest game ever made. And I'm like, okay, I really like Alien Frontiers. And Alien Frontiers is a good board game. It's no Gloomhaven. I go, yeah, but Alien Frontiers is like $50, and I love rolling the dice. I love role player. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that role player made a game out of making characters.
Yeah. At its core value, it's a D&D creation type game. I think Gloomhaven is. I don't think it deserves the hype personally. I've watched a couple of videos.
People are going to crap on us so much because you haven't played the game.
And that's
have you seen how amazing those miniatures are?